Lesson 48 is about subtracting mixed numbers with regrouping, and this is part 1 of this type of problem. Now, we want to subtract, and we've got 1 2/4 minus 3/4. The way we're going to do this is to first set the problem up vertically. So we've got 1 2/4 minus 3/4. And when we look at this problem, we can see that we're trying to subtract 3/4 from 2/4. Well, if we want to subtract 3 from 2, we're going to have to borrow. And the way we're going to borrow is to borrow from the 1. We're going to take 1 whole away to get 0. Now when we're working with fractions, the denominator tells us the whole. So if we borrow from the 1 to get 0, we're going to add 1 whole to 2/4. And 1 whole to 2/4 is adding 4/4, because that's equal to 1. Now what we want to do, we want to rewrite. We're going to rewrite this problem. Let's make a vertical line here so we know that we're rewriting. We've got 2/4 plus 4/4. That's 6/4. And we're taking 3/4 away from 6/4. So when we subtract fractions, we know the denominator stays the same, 4. And we've got 6 minus 3. We're taking 3 away from 6 to get 3. And we've got our answer of 3/4. We can go ahead and box that and move on to the next problem. Whenever we do these mixed number problems where we have to borrow and regroup, the key is to remember that your denominator is the whole. And when you add 1 whole, it's got to be the same number in the numerator and denominator as you originally had. Let's look at another example. We want to say 5 1/3 minus 2 2/3. So our first step is to write it vertically. And we can see we want to take 2/3 away from 1/3. So we're taking 2 away from 1. We're going to have to borrow and regroup. So in order to do that, we're going to borrow from the 5. We're taking 1 away from the 5 to get 4. And we're adding 1 whole to 1/3 because we've taken 1 whole away. So we're adding 1 whole. Well, the whole is 3. So 1 whole must be 3/3. And now we can go ahead and rewrite and solve. We're going to get 4. And now we have 1/3 plus 3/3, that's 4/3, minus 2 2/3. Now we can subtract. We've got 4 minus 2, that's 2. We've got 4/3 minus 2/3, well that must be 2/3. So we've got our answer. Our difference to this mixed number subtraction problem must be 2 2/3. Here's the key when we're working with mixed number and regrouping. We borrow from the whole part, and then we add a fraction equal to 1 to the fraction part, and the denominators have to be the same. That's the key. Lesson practice will be on page 257. Make sure you've got your notes complete, and I'll see you during our next class.